first of all, let me just say that as that conversation started between John and I really was not interested in doing anything like this. I've never done anything like this in my life. Okay, I'm a teacher and a coach. I teach algebra every day. I coach football. I coach track. What I can tell you about, just as I'm thinking about being a fighter, I'm getting goosebumps up here right now. My only experience really with firefighters is my dad that John talked about suddenly passed away in 2003, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later, but of a heart attack mowing our yard. Who do you think were the first people on the scene? Firefighters, absolutely. My mom just literally yesterday, before I came over here, my mom called me. She was at our little YMCA type place in Tampa. She's a 79-year-old lady, right? She's walking in to do her little workout. She looks over, and there's two little girls screaming about their grandmother who's in the pool, and they're trying to get her out. The 8-year-old has run over to her, and the 12-year-old's trying to get this lady out. My mom calls 911. They start trying to help the girl get them out. Here come the firefighters. Take over. And that's my experience with firefighters. So I just want to tell you guys, I am honored to be here. Proud. I'm so thankful for the job that you guys do. And you make a difference. And I just hope today that, there's nothing I'm going to teach you about firefighting today, for sure. I'm not going to teach you. You guys, I will say this. I sat in yesterday and then got to sit down and drink a little, what do you call that, Oklahoma Peach moonshine, is that what we call that? And I learned from John that you guys are sick. I think that's what, right? He said, okay, so when you're getting ready to talk to you guys, be ready. Be ready, because it doesn't matter, male, female, if you're a firefighter, you got to be sick. So get ready. I said, okay, all right. And then I learned from Dean. Dean explained to me that the good side about being a firefighter in relation to being a teacher and coach is that you guys, it's possible, and he was talking about you guys, you males, that if you have the only job where a lady might come up to you and say, no, let me get this back up, who you killed her husband and burned her house down, and she'll say, thank you so much for your effort. You did everything you could. Whereas on my side, if I don't play her son at quarterback, I'm going to get dropped out all day long. I'm like parent-teacher conferences and all kinds of things just because of the position her son plays, right? So, our lives are extremely different. I do see us both as being servants in this world. You guys are certainly public servants, and as a teacher and a coach, I feel very much the same way. And so, what I want to talk to you about today, what I hope you get from today, and I'm going to try to do a good job of breaking it up for you guys. If it's bad, blame those guys, because they're their idea, okay? I'll just tell you, I'm thankful to be here and proud. And however it goes, it goes. But my message to you today, I hope, is that we're here on this earth for a short time, and we leave something behind. We leave an imprint on people. And you guys, as firefighters, obviously are doing that in your communities. As instructors, you're doing it on the people you're teaching. The way you teach. I can think back in my life to the people that taught me and coached me. And it's real easy for me. It doesn't take long. And I know this would be the same for you too. It doesn't take long. And you can just give them a little bit of thought. You can picture their face. You can hear their voice. And you can remember something that they taught you maybe, but you can definitely remember how they make you feel. You can do that. You can think back and you can easily bring those people to mind who had a positive impact on you and a negative impact. You're leaving a legacy. You're leaving a legacy with the people that you teach, and our world desperately needs great teachers, great instructors. Desperately. People who want to leave a positive impact. So I want to tell you just a little bit about myself. That's my dad. Dennis Cavalier is my dad, and this is kind of what I'm talking about right here. We all have a past, right? And the people that you're teaching every day have a past. And you become part of that past after you interact with them and they move on. And we all have things from our past that we want to continue in our future, right? That's what traditions are. We want to continue those things. So my dad was the guy who raised me. He was the guy who coached me. He was my mentor as a coach, and then he became my best friend. I got to spend the last 5 years of his life coaching with him. Loved it. So thankful that I took that opportunity, because I almost didn't. I don't know if any of you have had that opportunity. You know, I came to this crossroads in my life where I needed to decide to take this job or go home and work with my dad. And there's pros and cons. It's a double-edged sword for sure. But man, I'm so thankful I did that. So I'm coaching with my dad. And after that 5th year, I decided I was going to get out. I was going to stop coaching. So we got beat in the playoffs in December. I go to tell my mom and dad that I'm not going to teach and coach anymore. I'm going to join my wife's family's farm and ranching operation. And which they fully supported and everything, and we had kind of been working towards that a little bit. But before that school year ended, my dad died. In May of that year, my dad passed away suddenly. And in that, though, there were so many things that I got the opportunity to learn from him as a teacher, as a coach. And several of them that I always like to talk about are the one that he kind of was the big push in the end of his career, as we had a lot of success there at the end of his career, was to always win without bragging and lose without excuse. And, you know, when things are going good in life, whatever winning is to you in that place, or in your place right now, when things are going good in life, as a firefighter, when things are going good in your life as a spouse or a father or a son or a husband or a wife or a daughter, wherever you are, when things are going good, you don't have to blast that out and tell that to everybody. Just keep your mouth shut. Let people figure that out for themselves. You know, you don't have to tell everybody about all the certifications you have, right? And say, look at me, how good I am. I can teach this and this and this and this and this. Right? They'll watch you and they'll know how good of a teacher you are. They'll be able to tell that. Let them form their opinion and let other people talk about your successes. That's what win without bragging meant to me. And lose without excuses. When things are going bad, don't look for other people to blame. Don't look for, when things are going bad, step back, maybe detach a little bit, regroup, and figure this dadgum thing out. Figure out how to get better and how to improve and where you can change. But don't look for other people. Don't look for excuses. Now, my dad talked a lot about the standard. When we moved from Chickasha to Tampa, my dad was moving, and my dad spent his career basically going to places who had not been successful and kind of building those programs up, and then we'd move on to the next one. But until my mom finally talked to me, and she got tired of moving. She was like, plant your ass in town. Let's stay somewhere. How about you try to maintain a program instead of build one? Challenged him a little bit. And so he ended his career a lot longer in Tampa than we were anywhere else. But when we moved to Tampa, he challenged the whole community about the idea of setting a standard of excellence. And that in this instance, as a football coach or a football player, that the standard has nothing to do with a scoreboard or a tabulated outcome. That's just for critics out there. That's just for people to tell you how good you're doing. That's not the standard that we want to work towards, right? And so, you know, I'm sure that can relate in firefighting to some degree. You know, you're going to have fires that you go, or classes that you teach, or fires that you go on where things go really good, and you're going to have ones where things don't go as good, right? But it doesn't mean that there's usually a reason necessarily it doesn't mean you weren't busting your butt trying to do your very best, and that's what the standard of excellence is, right? When you're teaching a class, you'll get, you know, I know me in this, let's say, if I ever get to do something like this again, I'll probably do a lot better next time than I did this time. You guys get to suffer through this very first time, right? That's like the classes I teach and the teams I coach. I'm a way better coach right now than I was 25 years ago. Way better. I'm a way better teacher than just like you guys, as you gain experience, right? You can predict what's about to happen. You can think ahead a little bit. You can detach and see the big picture and all those things. So the standard of excellence is about being great at that stuff and knowing that the outcome, the tabulated score that everybody sees will take care of itself if you're just doing your very best doing your very best. You know, as I went on through my life coaching with my dad, there were many things he taught me. Because he was a teacher and a coach and an instructor. And I remember those things. I just want you guys to remember, to just think about as you get ready to step in front of the class that these people are not only going to learn the facts from you, you know, they're going to learn from you the way you treat them. Every time. Every time. We know how people make us feel. Empathy. Man. I think empathy, when I spoke at this coaching clinic a few months ago now, they asked me what I thought the number one most important characteristic for a coach was. And I said I thought it was empathy. Empathy, being able to put yourself in somebody's shoes and understand how they're feeling. When I was coaching with my dad, very first year, I get out of college, okay, I'm 24 years old or whatever, and I'm a freshman football coach in Pampa, Texas. All right? And we had these two quarterbacks that we were trying to figure out which one was going to kind of be like the next up and coming quarterback in our program. And I'm kind of in charge of making the bulk of that decision along with a bunch of other people, but I'm the head freshman football coach, and they give me that, kind of let everybody do their own thing and take the responsibility for what you're going to do. And so, as a group, with me being the final decision maker, decided to go with this one kid. Okay? You can imagine then immediately how the other kid's dad felt and how his mom felt and so on. Okay? So they make that very well apparent. They come up, they have a meeting, they just can't believe it. They might move, and especially didn't think that I had any enough experience or anything to be making a decision like that. So they leave. And then I get to go in there and talk to my dad. He's my boss at the time and whatnot. I'm basically going to just kind of, I think as I walked in there, my idea was I was going to kind of scoff at the idea that they couldn't see that their son wasn't the best one. And they just couldn't understand the big picture. And so I was just going to gripe to him about them. And as I started to, he could certainly read, I'm sure, where I was headed. He said, hold on. Before you say a word about that man, you have no idea what it feels like to be a dad. You have no idea what it feels like to be a dad and have your son be disappointed. So don't come in here griping to him until you can put yourself in his shoes. He's doing that out of love for his son. And it washed over me right then. And for every interaction I've had similar to that since then, I try to do my best to think about the thing I'm fixing to talk about with this person from their perspective. And I think that's a great characteristic for us to have as instructors. Is to be able to put yourself in their shoes. Sometimes as you gain experience, there's so many positives about gaining experience, but sometimes you forget how you were back when you learned it. For the very first time. Sometimes you got to put yourself in their shoes. And I sat in here yesterday and got to listen to John teach about all that stuff about getting into those cars and those vehicle X jobs. And there's so much to learn, right? So much to learn. Obviously, he knows a lot about it now. But there's probably people sitting in that room who don't. He was doing a great job of just explaining it on a level where a person, wherever they are, can understand it. That's part of being a great instructor. Absolutely. All right. I wanted to spend most of our time today kind of going back and forth from books I've read. And this is how we became a part of each other. So my story as far as how I've kind of ended up in front of you right here is, as I've been teaching and raising kids for the last, my oldest son's 21 now. Just turned 21 the other day, and he tied it on good for being 21. He did it good. You guys would have been proud. He didn't have a record, thanks to no firefighters had to show up. But he did good. So in Canadian high school, our kids aren't allowed to have their phone with them in class. They have to turn in their phone in class. But they have it in between classes. And I mean, the instant they get that thing, boom. So going through social media like this, like boom, 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 boom. My kids at home, Same thing. You know, just in my family, we don't let them do much social media, but I mean, they want to badly. And when they get the opportunity to, same thing. Boom, head down, on the phone. And so I just thought, okay, I didn't know anything about social media. I was 45 years old, never been on any sort of social media ever. And I thought, I'm going to put something on there. I'm going to figure out how you do that. I'm going to put something out there for these kids to look at that's positive. And there's probably, and once I got on there, look, there's tons of positive stuff. I mean, I'm dropped in a big old ocean. But there's lots of negative stuff too. Tons of it. And our kid, and the things that get the most likes, most of them aren't good stuff. They're not. So I decided I'm going to put some positive stuff out there, and these guys saw it. And all I do, this is what I do, most mornings I put something out there. Not every morning, you know, sometimes they got stuff on. But most mornings I put something on there. It is a 45-second to 2-minute little video. And I have, over the course of the last year, I started just reading books. And I don't spend a lot of time reading. I'm not a big reader. But whenever I read something that I thought, man, that's pretty good, I'd highlight it, mark it, circle it, earmark it, do something, and then save it for later. And all I do is I read something in the book, like you see on the screen up there. That's from the book Greatness that John gave me just the other day. Awesome book. And then I just take another 30 seconds or whatever just to tell what I think that means to me. And so in this book, though, it says right here, Zig Ziglar, this is from Zig Ziglar, who is kind of the godfather of self-improvement and motivational speaking and stuff like that. It says 2 things that will change us in the next 5 years will be the people we meet and the books we read. So I just hope I'm part of that for you today. We're meeting today, so in the next 5 years, hopefully there's some kind of impact. So, do you guys know that term up top up there? I don't know if it's a home slang term for sure. It's definitely slang up where I come from. You only know. You only know. That's what I was thinking yesterday when I was sitting in here and John was talking about, just about the stuff he was talking about. You know, I thought about what you guys have to know as firefighters. I tried to think about, I just listed a few things on there. You only know what a firefighter has to know. Right? You couldn't list them all. And I was listening to, that's the one course I sat in here yesterday and John was teaching. And he just broadly overviewed his topic, and that was just one little topic. So I know in your world, not only do you have to know all this stuff, it's changing all the time. It's changing all the time, I imagine the hazmat stuff and the chemicals that are out there. And I know when John was talking about the vehicles yesterday and all that, as models change and all the different things. And I know that's just one aspect of what you guys deal with. You only know, there's a new word for you if you didn't know that word. You only know what all a firefighter has to know to be an expert, right? You guys got to know all that stuff and be experts. And all those things are tangible things, facts. That's not what we're going to be spending our time on today. We're not going to be spending our time on those facts, not paperwork you have to do and all those things. We're going to be spending our time talking about other things that will make you a better firefighter. Hopefully, also make you a better friend, a better human, a better community member, a better citizen, a better whatever you are in your relationships in your life.